Hello, my name is Maya. I'm 14 years old and I go to NGFA. I started 4 years ago and I plan to continue doing the sport for a while. So for the first thing to do in fencing is to learn how to do unguarded position. So first things is you take your dominant foot, put it out front, then your non-dominant and put it in the back in L shape. And then you kneel down like this. You want to make sure it's steady and the back foot lines up with your heel. Then once you get your glove and your saber, you take it into your dominant hand and position it like this in front of you. So that your elbow does not do this, but it's out. And that's how you do on guard position. So, to make an advance, you take your dominant foot, lift, and have your back foot follow. To make a retreat, have your back foot go out and your dominant foot follow. So advance, retreat. To make sure you do the advance correctly, you take your heel, then your toe follows. So to make sure to do it properly, do it slow, like that. Then retreat, make sure you extend your back leg out. So once you keep on doing it, you get used to it and it becomes natural. So now you got those two done. For a lunge, you take your unguarded position, and when you do a lunge, you want to kick your dominant foot out, like this. So, once you do that, you want to lean into it, almost like a jump. So then, your back foot will have to follow with it. You want to make sure you pick it up so that you move. The incorrect way of doing a lunge is this. I didn't move anywhere. So, when you do a lunge, make sure to pick up your back foot and lift your back leg to do this. So now, you got advance, retreat, unguard position, and lunge. So, now to work with the blade. Make sure when you do this to take unguard position. Make sure you line up the back and front foot to make an L shape. So, once you have your dummy or your practice, you want to go like this. Extend your dominant hand. Just like that. In fencing, saber, you can go wherever you want, torso and up. So, I could do this. Or, and even on the arm, which you could do this, or this. To make sure you're doing a hip properly, you want to extend your arm. And then with your fingers, do this. So, to extend, then flip. Go back, extend, then flip. Same thing when going to the chest. Turn, extend, flip. So once you do it, over and over, you can do this. Alright, so once you get those basics done, there's different moves you can make in fencing. One is beat. Beat is where you hit the blade from here, like this. And make sure you turn your blade so that this part of the blade, where you hit, is in contact with your opponent's blade. So from here, on guard position. Then from there, you can hit. So, one thing about beat you never want to do is hit at the guard. When you hit somebody at the guard, it'll be their parry. A parry is when your opponent hits the bottom of your saber. So, for example, a parry could be this or this. There's also blocking your head and then riposting. So, imagine the opponent hits, you block. You cannot do a parry up there. Only here. Then you can riposte. You can do parries in many different ways. 3 of them are the main ones. Here, here, and make sure you turn your blade so that this part of the blade where you hit is in contact with your opponent's blade. So from here, on guard position, then from there, you can hit. So, one thing about beat you never want to do is hit at the guard. When you hit somebody at the guard, it'll be their parry. A parry is when your opponent hits the bottom of your saber. So, for example, a parry could be this or this. There's also blocking your head and then riposting. So, imagine the opponent hits, you block. You cannot do a parry up there. Only here. Then you can riposte. You can do parries in many different ways. 3 of them are the main ones. Here, here, and then head. There's also different ones that are more advanced, like going like this. But that's for when you experience fencing more, that you'll learn that. But for the basics, just make sure that when you do a parry, you land the parry in front so that the opponent's blade cannot hit you. If you do a parry wrong, like low, they could easily catch you on your arm. So make sure you have that out front of you and riposte. So that's a parry, and you learn the beat. So, once you have the advances down, the retreats, the lunges, another one is a balestra. A balestra is not like an advance or a lunge. It's a little bit of both. What you do, so you kick out your front foot, like that. You don't want to go anywhere. It's like a small advance. And you don't want to do a balestra like this. That's too much distance. If you do that, your opponent can counterattack you. The counterattack is when your opponent hits you on your attack before you can hit them. If they hit you while you're doing an advance, before you can hit them, that'll be a counterattack. That's their point. But during a counterattack, if it's your attack and they walk into it, but you hit at the same time, that's your point. Because you have preparation. So, a counterattack is when the opponent hits you before you hit them. So, during a balestra, keep in mind the counterattack. So, while doing a balestra, just an easy, and you're good. So, as I told you about the basics, Hopefully that you'll take an interest in fencing and want to learn more about it. My goals in fencing are to go to the Olympics, but that will take many practices and maybe years as I get older. But hopefully you're able to grow and gain a good experience from fencing. Thank you.